got to get into the opening salvo. And I want to thank already, we have 200 people here on a Friday morning. And again, like I said, this is still a small channel. We're 100 and I believe 18 now away from 16K. I don't know how many people here in the chat are not already subscribed, but Mrs. Boom and I do implore you to help us get there. We would greatly appreciate the push over the edge, so to speak. But Crispy Bomb, you brought up a phenomenal point, so much so that I had to make it a conversation to open today's show. Now, this is one of those original topics that you may or may not ever hear on some of your other favorite podcasters. And that's what I love about working with professionals like Crispy and Fuzzy on a regular basis, is that we have these on point conversations that do involve hot topics of the day, like Xbox Game Pass and affordability in gaming. But when we get a topic like this, and it's as pointed as, carving out a conversation that includes the first 5 months of 2025 versus any first months of any platform before it. And mind you, this is a wide margin. Now, there's going to be some people in the chat that be like, well, Boom, I remember in 2017 that this 5 months is better. We're not here to argue. What we are here to do is celebrate a topic that Crispy Bomb came up with, and I think it's brilliant. And I think it needs to be discussed because right now, folks, and I know we're not going to get into cream cheese and egg prices. We're not going to do that. So again, people are probably laughing in the chat already. It is a sad reality. And the fact that we have those conversations on a gaming podcast, ultimately, is just sad, right? But gaming is an expensive hobby. Not everyone can afford to game on a console, let alone all three platforms, right? We some of us, and not me, because I understand, but some people take for granted the gifts that we are given. And some people, like myself, support multiple platforms, as well as having a nephew who, plays those games as well. And I support his, I was going to say habit, but his fun as well in gaming. So it's an additional cost. Anyone with kids knows exactly what I'm talking about. Well, when you look at Xbox Game Pass, I believe in my heart of hearts that not only is it undeniable, it has officially, in my personal opinion, become the greatest service in entertainment. That's right. You heard what I said there. I'm bringing TV and film into the conversation as well as music. You get so much value for what you are paying. It's almost unbelievable at times. But the topic at hand here, Crispy Bomb, is the one of clarifying that when you consider what Xbox has done as a platform in the first 5 months of 2025, it has been maybe a decade, maybe more than that, when we have seen this many games, both multi-plat, both indie and first-party games, drop onto a platform. And we're not talking about games that are forgettable. We're talking about at least 5 games that are going to be discussed by the end of the year as Game of the Year nominees, and we're not even into June yet. Let's break this down.
I mean, and I said publisher because at the end of the day, like, you look at what's dropping, even though they're technically games that some of us have already played, like me, like, I'm looking at Game Pass at this point. I'm like, where do I find the time for all of this? And I think that's a question that is really important. Like, yes, like, they're releasing games on PlayStation, and those games are becoming extremely successful. I mean, Forza is going to do crazy numbers on PlayStation, okay? But people have played that for years already on Xbox. Is that like the worst thing in the world? And then, to be a publisher on like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, for example. I never played Ninja Gaiden. And if I did, I don't remember it that well. Okay? Because those were times when I can't look back on the achievements. Okay? That's the way it goes. But you look at it and you say, okay, like I put 10 hours into that game. Did I beat it? No. I enjoyed a moment. Am I going to beat it? I don't know, because all of a sudden there's another game here. Oh, South of Midnight. Oh, okay. Downloaded it. Guess who stole the controller? My fiance. Okay. Like, you know, and then all of a sudden I come in after work and she's playing with my son. All right. Like, they're sitting there and they're passing the controller back and forth. Those are old school moments in my eyes. Like, that's
Those
like
beautiful moments, brother.
Yeah. And, you know, I look at that and I say, all she looks at and says, like, I already paid for this. This is amazing that I get this. Like, it's just, you know, it's so unique. And then, you know, like Oblivion, like, oh, let's just drop that. Okay. Like, let's just drop that. Oh, you know, you got Doom coming. Avowed already came out at the beginning of the year. I mean, all these games, I mean, most of them are above 80. Okay. So, like, you want to call it Game Pass fodder? Sure. You want to go to the Metacritic and say, oh, you know, that's all the enjoyment. If I'm going to play a game, it has to be good on Metacritic. You don't have to worry about that. Just try it. If you don't like it, uninstall it. I mean, yes, I'm sorry. Like, Game Pass is starting to become undeniable. It is one of those things that, yes, you might be able to play this game on PlayStation or probably Nintendo Switch 2 at some point. Okay. But at the same time, if you have an Xbox or you have the Game Pass app and can use it wherever you want, if you're a phone gamer, you can use it. If you just have a newer TV, especially LG and Samsung, you can use it. Is it going to work like having the console there? Not necessarily, but at the same time, like, we're talking under $300 console that will play all of the new games as well, because I did find out that South of Midnight, and I have a 1X, the Scorpio edition, it will not play that. So now I have to upgrade said fiance for bedroom, because she likes to just, you know, chill out and just play by herself and do that. That is because the game she likes, I might not like. And I think that's the beauty of it. And I think we're coming into a time where they usually don't stack it like this in the beginning of the year.
They've never done this. Crispy, that, first of all, phenomenal additional point. Let me just add a few seconds of context. What has been, Crispy, one of the biggest complaints of Xbox gamers for years is that they seem to forget that there's a January through June, and they fix that. And this is the first year. This is why your topic is so brilliant, because most Xbox gamers, new folks in the chat can back me up on this. If there was one complaint, it's like, okay, they had good games this year, but damn, everything was at the back end of the year. Folks, they loaded up front the first 5 months. Mind you, there's still 7 months left of the year that we don't know about. Please continue, kind sir.
And I mean, this is where we start seeing, like, okay, like, a lot of us said, like, we do like these shadow drops, right? And then, like, yeah, they're throwing it out there, like, you know, like rumors upon rumors about Oblivion. Okay. And then it still hit hard, even though there was all those rumors. I think they're starting to see, like, through the tea leaves, like, hey, like, if it's an IP that is, like, nostalgic, but also needs a new coat of paint and a new, like, we're not saying change the game completely, but make it modernized. And you know, we're talking, you know, at least 10 plus years for a remaster. Okay. Like, that's the way I look at games at this point. Like, and I know, like, you know, you're going to hear all the Sony pushback. Oh, we do remaster. You do too many. Okay. Like, and you do them too soon. All right. What about a SOCOM? What about this and that? Like, that's what I saw from what they just did with Oblivion. Like, hey, like, we can do this. And I think I said this a couple weeks ago. Like, it seems like Xbox is a complete bed with Epic with UE5, because if they're allowing like the engine that, like the underlying engine, and then having that coat of paint on top of it, so it still has that nostalgic feel, but also has this new age look to it, and that engine's able to do it. Imagine when we get the Phoenix collection and it's already been built in Unreal Engine, and then you're just adding that extra coat of paint. It's already it's already there. They can do that clearly because they were able to do that with this. This is an exciting time for getting some of those games that you wish you had again, with this new nostalgia to it. And I think this is the way. Like, if you're going to invest in doing a remaster, you must do it this way. And then let's be honest, like, if you're not a Game Pass subscriber, that's cool, because you know what? It was only $50. Like, it's one of those things. Like, there's so many games that they have that they can put that new coat of paint on and probably release it to other consoles. But I mean, most Xbox gamers, we played this a long time ago. Like, we're just enjoying the fruits of their labor. And on top of that, think about this, okay? Like, you are giving a reason to do it because you're releasing it on other platforms. You know what I'm saying? So it's a win-win for gaming in general, because it allows studios like Virtuos to go out and say, you know what, we're going to be a remake capital. You know what I mean? We're going to just, remake, remaster. I don't know. Like, I'm hearing remake. Don't get me wrong. Did not download Oblivion. I got enough games to play right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. And that's where I say, like, yeah, like, maybe give us some discounts on the storage there, Xbox. Hello. Like, go with your partners like WD Black and be like, hey, like, can we get a 2 terabyte for like $150? Like, can we figure that out? Seagate, like, hey, like, you guys want to come in and say, hey, like, let's upgrade some people, on the back end, because regardless of what you think, like, it's old school. It's like a memory card, but I love it because it works. It works great. But now I'm hitting that storage limit. Division coming out with an update and all that, and I got back into it, and I'm like, oh, well, that's there. So like, it's a lot of things, and I think, I mean, is it a bad problem to have like so many games that you don't know what to play? This reminds me of when I used to go into Blockbuster and be like, oh, what am I going to play? Sit there for an hour trying to figure out what I'm going to get, and then I'm only going to play it for 5 days. I don't even have to, I have no limit now. I just, like, okay, I want to boot up Avowed today. Okay, I can do that. Doom's coming out. That's where I say 5 months. Like, Doom, like, the way they presented it and everything, and like the way they're trickling stuff out, and like the music, like, yeah, I love Mick Gordon, but like, it seems like they hit the narrative again. Like,
Yeah,
I want to metal out and rock on and blow some demons' heads off and smash them in the head with a freaking mace. Like, let's go. Like, but those are the type of things that I like. A chainsaw shield. Like, come on. Like, I'm a Gears head. Like, the chainsaw shield. Like, yeah. But that's what I say. Like, and then like, even like the controllers and stuff like that, and like, starting to make it undeniable to say, hey, like, they don't have to make the money all on the game. They can make the money on the marketing and everything else by releasing good products. Now, I've seen some complaints about the Elite controller. At least I've heard complaints about that for years. I have like 5 of them. Okay, so I'm not saying that don't have their issues, but if you send it in within a period of time, they will at least, give you your flowers and be like, oh, okay, we'll replace it, we'll fix it, do whatever. And that goes down to a lot of old stuff that happened before, because being pro-consumer is extremely hard at this point, especially in the times we're in. And that's where I keep saying, and I'm going to keep saying it, Xbox, stay on this path. not this year. You got it. You got the narrative. The narrative is turning. Okay. I've seen people that normally wouldn't talk about being, becoming Game Pass subscriber again or buying an Xbox. They're starting to talk about it because it's becoming so prevalent that why would I want to play this game? If you want to play 3 games and let's say they're priced at even $50, you're 3/4 of the way to a Game Pass sub, and you don't know what's coming out at the end of the year. You got an inkling. You got Outer Worlds 2 out there. Okay. You got certain games that you're like, okay, this is possible, but you don't know specifically. But then also they're like, oh, Call of Duty, that's going to be there. Okay. Yep. If you're a Call of Duty player, there you go. So these are things that you have to deal with. Do you want to just spend money? Like, I understand supporting the devs and all that. I do. But there comes a point in time where your wallet should matter more than anything else. Mm-hmm. And that's where I look at it from my perspective.
I mean, listen, you're not wrong. And not only is it a phenomenal perspective, your personal wallet is what is important, right? Because it pays the bills. It keeps the lights on at home. And sometimes we gotta cut corners. Entertainment's the first thing to go for almost anybody. I mean, that's a normal thing, and that makes sense because if you have to, in order to play your games, you got to keep the lights on, folks. So unfortunately, sometimes the first thing for most families is entertainment. And I've said this before, and I'm going to beat this drum until I'm no longer here. Xbox Game Pass allows for every financial station to be a part of the conversation in gaming. I don't think people give them enough credit for that. That is a great point of view, and it's one that is packed with truth. But, Crispy, again, phenomenal opening salvo. I want to bring Fuzzy Belvedere in here. Fuzzy, there is something to be said of having a winning streak. And you've heard me say this before. Listen, I don't slander PlayStation unless they need it. And we do have to admit that when they were hitting in 2018, 2019, 2020, they were on a phenomenal cadence. It was a phenomenal bunch of games. Now, maybe those games aren't for you. Maybe the over-the-shoulder, third-person, story-driven game that looks kind of the same with a different skin isn't for you. I get it. It's for me, though. I enjoy those games, which is why I have a PlayStation 5. But they haven't been on a run like that in a very long time, and it was years. And it was years of consistency. But now we have to just take a step back and use not only Xbox Game Pass as the crux of the conversation, but it's the quality of the games that were put in the service and onto the Xbox platform. And this first 5 months, honestly, might actually go down as not only the biggest in Xbox platform history, it actually might go down as some of the best 5 months in gaming in a decade or more. You are talking about games like South of Midnight, Avowed, Oblivion, Doom, Expedition 33. Yes, it's a multi-plat, but in Xbox Game Pass. Blueprints, which some people are calling it their game of the year, the indie game of the year in Xbox Game Pass. And yes, it did land on PlayStation Plus, which is awesome for PlayStation players. They took the bag from both places, so good on them for doing that. And it's a game of the year quality. Awesome. But there is just so many other games. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I mean, we can just keep going down the list. And what Xbox has put out with their third-party partners, their indie partners, and Xbox Game Studios is undeniable. The best 5 months I could possibly remember in gaming. Let's get your thoughts, man.
Ooh, where to begin? All right, so if we're just going to focus on first-party stuff, this is undeniably, I would say, one of the best first halves of published and first-party games that we've seen in gaming in quite a long time, if not ever. Because, let's not mix things up. Ninja Gaiden is still one of those things where it's going to be published by Microsoft Studios.
Yep.
So it still counts as their first party per se. But even if you have questions on that, they've already released Avowed, South of Midnight, and the Oblivion remaster, which that's the right way you do a remaster. You take something that's beyond the 10-year scope and not only give it a new coat of paint, but update some of the progression, some of the mechanics of the game to improve upon what you already had. Not saying that other platforms don't do that. I mean, there are other publishers that do a good job of their remasters. Capcom is one that really comes to mind as far as the update of controls as well as the visuals. But now Xbox is digging in their bag as far as what they have available as well. And they picked a doozy with Oblivion. And we'll probably see, the Gears collection here soon as well. But just from that standpoint, like Crispy said, they deserve Publisher of the Year. And we're not even finished yet. Like, we still have the June showcase where we know there's going to be a new COD this year. We know there's going to be Outer Worlds 2 later this year. There's probably going to be at least one, if not two more surprises before this year is out. And that's going to be one heck of a year. Like, typically you only get this type of, not coverage, but you get this type of enjoyment with like a new console release or a launch type of thing where it's like your launch window is kind of stacked. Yeah, this is everything that we poked fun at Matt Booty in the past about. And yeah, he definitely, showed what he was talking about, that nobody could quite see what was ahead of us and whatnot. And if you look at what's in Game Pass, like you guys both touched on it, as far as like anybody that is looking to be in this hobby, there's so many different levels. So yeah, you could go all out and have, a $5,000 PC and go that route and spend a lot of money and have, photorealistic visuals on almost everything. But if you're looking to keep things within a reasonable means or a reasonable budget, and you're typically the type of person that only gets one or two games, sure, Game Pass might not be for you, but for what you're spending for those two games, having access to games that more than likely will change your view on those types of genres and open up a whole new, Pandora's box of games that you're into. Game Pass is definitely not only the best value, but like just one of the best services out there. Sure, some people are all about GameFly. If you're all about the physical copies, getting two of them at a time and, do almost like you used to do back in the day with Blockbuster and return them and wait for the other one to come. But you can download stuff instantly, or you can play it via the cloud. Like if you don't even have the space right now, like I know we were talking earlier about the expansion drives and things like that. Before you even get to that point, at least test it out on the cloud service. Like that's what I use as like the gauge if it's worthwhile to, put it on the SSD type of deal. Play 5 minutes of it, 30 minutes, an hour of it. I'm enjoying this. All right. Yeah, I need to figure out how to make space, move stuff to the old expansion or external drive that I have. And then, the stuff that I'm going to probably be playing for the next couple of weeks, make sure that's on the internal. Yep. And then like the backup stuff or the stuff I usually visit daily, like your Forza Horizon or even Division type of stuff, put that on the expansion card and stuff. But yeah, Xbox has been killing it. And now they've expanded a new way to approach it. So if you have a newer LG TV, I mean, Samsung has always had, or not always, but they were the first ones as far as having the access to that app. Now LG has it. And if you don't have either one of those brands of TV, you could go with a Fire Stick, which is still one of those things that's kind of funny how even Amazon is in on, the expansion of Xbox, and they have their own cloud service, which you would think there'd be a conflict of interest, but in the grand scheme of things, this is the best for the consumer as far as access to games, a variety of games. And like you said, Blueprints is like a indie darling. Expedition 33, like I know a lot of us were like, man, was it right for them to release Oblivion Remaster considering that game is coming out in a few days? Well, it goes to show that game is going to stand on its own. And well, not that Oblivion has to worry, but like there's a lot of people that are into both of those games, and whichever one you start off with first and then hop to the next one, hopefully you get it finished in time for Doom. But yeah, this has just been a killer year, like not even year after year. Like month after month, week after week, there's always something new going into the service. And before we even get to the June showcase, was it Alters is another one that they're going to have. I think we got Towerborn in like the next couple of days, if it's not already, for that early access through Game Pass and stuff. So it's like nonstop. And it's to the point where it's a little overwhelming and the backlog is starting to pick back up. But that's a good problem to have, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. And who would have thought all those years of saying Xbox has no games, they would come back this hard? Like, I don't know. Where are those people now? Are they hiding under a rock, or are they just subscribing to
They're playing Oblivion right now, bro. They're playing Oblivion right now.
I love it.
Exactly.
Oblivion, that's good stuff. I love it. Oh, if they're not playing Oblivion and they're not playing the 93 Metacritic reviewed Expedition 33, they're in a witness protection somewhere. So again, we'll never know who they are. They're wearing a wig, a mustache, and sunglasses right now, walking the street.
Nice Sony.
Yeah, but it's a great time to be a gamer. Shout out to Pong, Golden Age of Gaming. Like, I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. Like, as great as this year is, and yes, I know you got GTA 6 looming in the background. It's the gorilla outside the room that's waiting to break the door down. But I think even 2026 at this point, knowing that Fable's going to be there, whether Clockwork Revolution is this year or next year, Perfect Dark, like it's nonstop. And I'm just here to enjoy it. Like I'm finding myself, even as retired, it's like, all right, which game am I going to play today? And it's not that it's a big decision, but it's like, these RPGs are going to take some time. I've already put AC Shadows down for a little bit. I need to get back to Avowed to finish it off. Got to finish South of Midnight, but this has been an awesome year. If you're a gamer, you should be smiling from ear to ear kind of thing, unless you're into totally different games at this point, which I don't know which game hasn't had a release at this point, whether it's on the Game Pass service or on the platform in general. But the only ones I can think of would be like those old, not even like the video ones. I forget, like what was the one Nightmare thing, but that would be about the only type of game. FMV, I think, is what they call them.
The old school joints,
and I think that's about the only genre that hasn't had a recent release. But other than that, there's all types of games. There's something out there for you. There's definitely something in Game Pass, and it's like, if you don't know which one to play, there's even like a Russian roulette thing in the app where you can have it choose it for you, and chances are you'll find something new that you'll enjoy as well. But it's an awesome time right now, and it's like Christmas Eve. June showcase is right around the corner. Can't wait to see what we get on the second half, because this first half, it's undeniably awesome. So that's it.